Hi, this is Majinoni. Here's a couple of reviews for you. We have Batwoman number 20 and Wolverine and the X-Men number 29. Now, let's take a quick look here at Batwoman. Now, under normal circumstances, this technically really would have been an interesting story. You have Black Mask resurrecting, or finding the body of Batwoman's sister, and he's able to revive her. And he's basically using that as leverage to get her to find out Batman's secret identity. And under normal circumstances, this would be an actually compelling story. I say this is a bunch of hogwash nonsense because this is not, the events in this comic are not even going to be looked at in the regular Batman book, because Batman's going to year zero, and if once it hits year zero, it's not like suddenly you're gonna have Batwoman's identity. I mean, Batman's identity being found out. That's asinine. Especially if you come out of that and then say, "Oh, look at that, we found out that Batman's identity was compromised," because how many issues have gone by and it's no longer relevant. Now, granted, you can argue the point. Well, you know what, Majinoni? It's starting here, but you have to understand it's going to take a few issues, and then eventually, by the time the year zero is done, we'll be caught up, and then they can cross over finally. And that's where I'm saying it's a missed opportunity. Right now, this is a big enough story just in itself where you should be crossing over Batman with Batwoman, because what you're dealing here is a betrayal in the family. It's not about a woman who's just trying to get her daughter back. This is a girl who is being manipulated into betraying Batman, and the entire Bat family should be involved in this, because if Batman's identity is compromised, everybody's identity is compromised, and you should not wait until a miniseries within a series is over. You should not have to wait until the Trinity War is over, because there's a rumor that this might be connected into even that. I think that is ridiculous. And this just shows right here that this is why DC, in my opinion, doesn't quite grasp great storytelling, because you're not lining up your event correctly. I mean, you could do a year zero anytime you wanted to. Hell, you can even do a mini series separate to that and make twice as much money, but they didn't. They're putting it within the regular continuity stories, and we're missing out on potentially something magical. And I'll tell you this much: if Batwoman does betray Batman, as much as I really like this book, I think that her character's compromised, and I don't think she deserves to have the mantle of being a hero any longer once that happens. Because you have to what Spock said a long time ago: the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And in this case, the amount of good Batman can do for Gotham City is far greater than the life of her sister. I don't get me wrong, I understand, well, she's my sister, my family, how can I live knowing that? Well, look, you're a superhero, you signed up for things. You don't become a superhero without the risk of realizing that your family could get killed. I mean, heck, maybe that's part of the problem why DC superheroes are so sucky, because they don't feel true tragedy like not Superman, but Spider-Man did, or the Hulk. Now granted, you can argue Bruce Wayne felt the most tragedy because he lost his parents, and you know what? That made him a fantastic character. You know, what tragedy does Superman have? Oh yeah, he lost his parents in Krypton, who he never doesn't remember, or the fact that Ma and Pa Kent are alive one day, and then the next reboot they're dead the next, and they're alive again. Just a matter of time before they're switched again. Oh, cry me a river, Arthur lost his throne. Wah, wah, wah. That's a lot of tragedy there. All he had to do was just stay down underwater and he would have been fine. Oh, hell. One minute he loses the ring, next minute he doesn't lose the ring. The next minute he loses his city, he goes crazy, kills everybody. Oh, don't worry about that. None of that really happened, but in a way it did happen. We just don't know anymore, and we won't remind us until we absolutely have to address it again. So anyways, that's what I'm saying. It really pains me because I'm really enjoying Batwoman. I love the writing, I love the artwork, and it just pains me that it's coming to this point where I can see potentially this character is not going to be worth it any longer. Okay, Wolverine and the X-Men. Now, I've seen online that a lot of people are heralding this as one of the greatest stories known to mankind. And yes, if you look at Aaron's run recently, you are correct. This is probably one of the greatest Wolverine and the X-Men titles of all time. But if you don't take that into account, this really isn't that wonderful. Is it good? Yeah, it's good, but it's not great. What we have here is just the setup for something big. Because they're going to have the big, they've been having the big membership drive for the Hellfire Academy, and then eventually what we're going to have really soon is the face-off. And Wolverine from the future remembers, hey, there's this time capsule. Let me go and manipulate time. And you can see where things are going to go from there. And, I mean, overall, I guess if you look at it in terms of here's what the status is of everybody in the past and in the future, that's great. But I can tell you this much, this future that we see right here, it ain't happening, regardless of what they're portraying here. Because it's, I mean, how many type of different futures are you going to have? You have the Ultron future, you have the Hank Pym minus Hank Pym future, you have Days of Future Past future, you have countless other ones. So this is irrelevant. This is never going to happen. We're never going to see this. This part's just throwaway. But anyways, and I'll be honest with you, it's not even entertaining. So I'm like, whatever. But what I am hopeful for is what's to come. So in that sense, it's a decent beginning, but honestly speaking, it did not wow me at all. Now, just briefly, let's go back to this here for a second, because this setup here reminds me of the Xbox conference that just happened today with that Xbox One nonsense. With that, well, you don't have to be connected all the time, but just once every 24 hours in certain circumstances, and we're not going to tell you what happens if you're not connected once every 24 hours. Or well, yeah, we're not really blocking used games. So because you can buy the game and give it to your friend to use, and he just pays the price of the full game. If it's new, because that's fair. Or we're not really blocking the sale of the used games because you can sell it online through our network, and that way you can get it. That way the other person can buy the code for that. Yeah, that's really. How about we just don't want to deal with your nonsense, and we're not going to buy your Xbox anymore? That is the future that I would like to see in regards to Xbox. But anyways, that's my 2 cents on these 2 books. We have the pull list tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get some good comics. And I'll be at Phoenix Comic Con over the weekend. So, until next time.